and out came Mohammedanism, which later became Islam. Okay? That religion of peace, so they say. Okay, so 5, God is from the beginning, and He has been from the beginning. God existed from old and was before anything else had been. God existed when nothing else existed, and what now exists, God created. Before creation, when not was created the earth, not were created men, not were created the gods, not was created death. So there's no men, no creation, no death. 6, God is truth, and God has established the earth thereupon. 7, God is life, and through Him only humankind lives. God gives life to men and women, breathing the breath of life into their nostrils. So there you go. There's comparisons between the Egyptian belief, religion, and the Christian scriptures, the Bible, the Christian scriptures, right? The Bible, in other words. Okay, that's what it's saying there. Compared to the Bible, okay, it's not specifically saying the Jewish Bible, the Hebrew Bible, or the Quran. Okay, not saying that. Okay, it's telling you specifically what to look at to compare what the Egyptians have said. Okay, the concepts of monotheism and absolute existence. God is both father and mother, the father of fathers and the mother of mothers. He begets but was never begotten. So in other words, He wasn't created. He always existed. He was never produced. He begat Himself. He brought Himself forth, right, into, so man could get to know Him, communicate with Him, be in His presence, all that sort of stuff, and produced Himself. Okay. God creates but was never created. He is the maker of His own form and the fashioner of His own body. God endures without increase or diminution. God multiplies Himself millions of times, and He is manifold within forms and members. God made the universe and all that is within. God is the creator of what is in this world, and what was, what is, and what will be. God is the Father of gods. It's got a big G there. Okay, so, the first God is in uppercase, and the other one is just got a capital G. God fashioned men and formed the gods. Okay, so is it saying that these other gods? Okay, hasn't got a little G. Got a big G there. 13. God is merciful unto those who reverence Him, and He heareth they that call upon Him. God knoweth that they who acknowledge Him, He knows them that know Him, acknowledge Him. God rewards them who serve Him and protects them who follow Him. They who set Him in their heart, they accept Him as their God. It's in the mind and the heart. God's rays are the guides of millions of men and women. Okay, is that to do with the sun? Sun's rays? Relating it to that maybe? I'm not too sure. Or the vibes that He gives off, through His Spirit, perhaps something like that, God gives the whole earth unto those who love Him. Gods and goddesses bow down in adoration before God's soul. So they're trying to say, besides this one Almighty God, or the Triune God, these other gods, minor gods, gods and goddesses, a pantheon of gods and goddesses. It appears that way. God is more hidden than all the gods. No man or God can know God. Okay. The sun disk is his God's symbol. There it is there. Circle with a dot in the middle. 20. God is not mind, but cause that the mind is. God is not spirit, but cause that spirit is. God is not light, but cause that light is. And that's the sun disk of Ra, representing the primordial point in the center and creation in the outer circle. So this is God. This is Ra. Okay. The sun god, or the god of the sun disk, representing the primordial point in the center and creation on the outer. Yeah, His creation is on the outside of Him, all around Him, or beneath Him. Shakta Yantra of India, showing this Egyptian sun disk and pyramid in the center. Okay, there it is again, Indian style. And it's not just a triangle, it's a pyramid. And the sun disk there. Okay, so here's this pyramid. This is the sun disk, right, with Ra in the center. The Rig Veda is a compilation of religious doctrines which are known to have partially originated with the invaders, Aryans, who came into India around the years 2000 BC to 1500 BCE and attempted to impose themselves on the Dravidian civilization, which was well established in India by the year 2500 BC. As has been noted, earlier Egyptian influence and civilization had spread throughout the region from which the Aryans originated. Thus, the religious and philosophical teachings brought into India by the Aryans are found to be similar to the original Egyptian and Indian philosophies. The main difference would seem to lie in the writings of the Rig Veda, which pertain to social custom, which have been characterized by many modern scholars of the Rig Veda as racist and sexist in character due to the development of a caste system, i.e. Brahmanism perhaps, in which those who were dark-skinned and women in general were classified as being of lower status. Type of Brahmanism. You could possibly say they're all foreigners, probably Europeans, pale-skinned people. Okay, because later on it became this, used as this supreme racist thing, right? By the Nazis, etc. Anti one particular race or particular races. Okay, so a caste system in which those who were dark-skinned and women in general were classified as beings of lower status. Like the old Christadelphian claim, or the darker people, this person, that people are the beast of the fields. It's specifically these people, racist bias, right? Prejudice, cult. The Dravidians were black-skinned, curly-haired people. This situation was similar to that which occurred in Egypt with the invasion and influx of Asiatic and Indo-European invaders. Compare the 20 Egyptian statements above to the following passage from the Indian Rig Veda. He is the all-pervading being manifesting himself in all things, etc., etc. That being is the whole cosmos and so forth, and he goes into the attributes of God, and the previous Egyptian statements correspond to those of the Hindu. Correlation there, right? Samkhya and Vedanta. Buddhist and Taoist philosophical systems of the Far East denoting the idea of an absolute God, forceful energy encompassing all existence. The description given for God also refers to the mental state which God represents. Thus, the true essence of our soul is described by the sages as a guide for understanding what the goal of spirituality is. Okay, so looks like they're saying there that those foreigners, not necessarily pale-skinned people, okay, in regards to the Aryans, whatever, these outsiders came in from the Far East and tried to undermine that concept of the absolute God force or energy accompanying all existence. That's probably what it's really saying. Okay, Vedanta philosophy goes on about absolute reality is named Brahman. The manifesting universe is an appearance only, an illusory modification of Brahman. Therefore, it never had a beginning and will never have an end because it is only an appearance. Brahman, or the ultimate reality, God's supreme being, is all that exists. All the objects of the world and universe, even though appearing to be different, are really one entity. All physical reality is an illusory manifestation of Brahman, which Brahman sustains but yet is detached from at all times, just as the sun sustains life on earth and yet is detached from it. For Brahman is pure consciousness. All that exists is essentially Brahman, Sat Chit Ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss. God gives things existence. God is conscious of those things, therefore they exist, and God gives bliss to the experience of living. Is it happiness, joy, abundance, all that sort of stuff. The mind, body, and senses of human beings are illusions. The essence of everything in the universe, including the human soul and its pure consciousness, even though objects appear real, tangible, and permanent, is its reality transient and illusory. 6. Brahman is the world and also assumes the role of millions of individual life forms, people, animals, insects, etc. The individual soul is termed Atman. Atman and Brahman are one and the same. Therefore, everyone's soul is part of the universal essence Brahman. Through a veil of mental ignorance, the individual soul, Atman, believes it is an individual entity, Jiva, separated from everything else when it is indeed part of everything. The mental veil of ignorance comes from erroneous subconscious impressions which cause a person to believe they are a body instead of a spirit, and therefore they search for happiness and fulfillment in the illusory pleasures of the world. This leads one from one unfulfilled desire to another, and it goes on like that. Okay, so basically they had all this philosophy, this religious belief system, etc., about the gods and all this sort of stuff, but these outsiders came in, they invaded and tried to undermine it. Okay. They give some examples, and they talk about Vedanta philosophy and the planes, the bodies, the five sheaths, etc., Okay, some more information there about self-control, etc., Chronology of Egyptian philosophy, sky god, realm of light, day, netta, androgynous, so that's both male and female, compared with the chronology of Indian philosophy on the right of it. Okay, it continues. Four main principles of the Egyptian concept of God: human beings in creation, the androgynous nature containing male and female. Probably not necessarily hermaphrodite, but it just had those two natures, right? It could be alpha male, strong, warrior, like, and all that sort of stuff, but at times you could be not necessarily feminine in gender, but like you could have that soft spot when you hear music, or be romantic, all that sort of stuff. Maybe they regard that as the feminine, right? Etc., whatever it is, right? However it's actually said here, but that's just the idea we have from this, right? Because sometimes men cry, they get really upset, heartbroken, all that sort of stuff. It doesn't make them a sissy. That's that feminine side of them. That portion. They have sympathy, all this sort of stuff. Then they're probably a nurturer at that point, at that time. They're not a full nurturer like a woman is, a natural nurturer, right? She has a child, she knows how to look after it, take care of it. Sometimes they don't, they're too young or something like that, or whatever, they're ignorant, whatever, right? So people help them, their grandparents, their mother, etc. helps them, right? This is how you do it, daughter. Yeah. But they're basically nurturers. It's within them. They have special bits and pieces, to feed with this estrogen milk, to feed that child, specifically for that child. They keep it warm, they feed it, etc., So they're more nurturing than a male is. More nurturers than a male. Okay, some more information there. Okay, and his comparison, wheels of yoga, 8 outer yogas, the Buddhist wheel of life, noble eightfold inner path to nirvana, noble path of creation, etc., this would be the fourfold path, the eightfold path, Kemetic philosophy from Egypt compared to everything else like Jainism, Vedanta, Upanishads, Samkhya, Buddhist philosophies from India. Correlation there, comparison. And it continues. The philosophy of Buddha goes into a deep explanation of the Buddha, or the enlightened one, developed a philosophy based on ideas which existed previously in Jain philosophy, or became Jainism at a later time in the Upanishads. Buddha recognized that many people took the teaching to extreme. Maybe they incorporated too much or something like that, or took it too deep or something, whatever it says in here. Okay, the Buddhist wheel, fourfold path, right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right meditation, right mindfulness, right effort, right livelihood, to reach bliss, that state of bliss, or nirvana. In much the same way as the term Christ refers to anyone who has attained Christhood, the term Buddha refers to anyone who has attained the state of enlightenment. In this context, there have been many male and female Christs and Buddhas throughout history. Okay, but there's a problem there, because Christ, Jesus the Messiah, the Son of God, was anointed by God, not by men. He did have, like the prostitute that wept at his feet, she anointed him with her tears. She had regret, sorrow, for her sins, all that sort of stuff. She knew who he was, so she cried. Maybe she put a bit of oil on his feet or something, and she, you could have sold that and gave it to the poor, these Pharisees that were in there, right, with him, talking to him, whatever. And she says, leave her alone, because she's the only one that came here and washed my feet, etc., with her tears, and dried them with her hair. Yeah, so back off, boy. Yeah. Notice that she did this. Yeah. What did you guys do? Yappity yappity yap. Maybe you should have been doing the same thing. He was hinting at. Okay. So there's a difference there. King David, was anointed with oil by Saul. Yeah. Not by God. By God through Saul, probably, but not actually by God. Yeah. There's a difference. The noble truth of suffering. The reason for all suffering is participation in the world process, and so forth. Okay, the noble truth of the cause of suffering. The Kabbalah, ancient sacred science of the study of creation and man, is developed by Jewish initiates. In the Bible, it is stated that Moses, who wrote the laws and guidance for Jewish society, was knowledgeable in all of the wisdom and magic of Egypt. Yeah, because as a lad, he was there, and part of the daughter of the Pharaoh's adopted son that she found in a reed basket, all this sort of stuff, right? So she took him into the Pharaoh's chambers, whatever, kingdom, and he learnt from there. Okay, and carried on from there. Learnt all their religion, their language, their culture, everything. So he was well versed in that, wasn't he? Probably had a lock, we don't know. Okay, Egyptian Ra, Kabbalistic Tiferet, Kabbalistic style relief from the temple of Kom Ombo in Egypt. In Chinese philosophy, the Tao, around 600 BCE. The Egyptian word for the eternal spirit is Shen. In the Chinese mystical philosophy, Shen means eternal spirit. Historical evidence shows that the early Chinese dynasties, Shang Dynasty, etc., and Chao Dynasty, were linked to a northeast Africa and the area now referred to as the Middle East. As the Middle Eastern inscription read, Asa, at the time he ruled Egypt, extended the Egyptian culture to the farthest reach of Asia. Yeah, because we read maybe this was the Hang or the Shang dynasty. This guy was really into the one true God and the monotheism, all that sort of stuff. The Tao De Ching, around 600 BCE, was the first written record outside of Egypt which discussed the use of breathing exercises, just before the written appearance of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali around 350 BC and the teachings of Buddha around BCE 550. Tao philosophy was also the first known teaching outside of Egypt, which held as the main idea that all creation is composed of two opposite but completely complementary forces, which were called Heru and Set in Egypt and Yin and Yang in China. Okay? One merges into the other. They're actually not two separate, they're actually complementary, as it says here. Yeah, because of being fans of Bruce Lee way back, all that sort of stuff, and listen to his philosophies. That's what he's pushing. He was pushing the Tao. Okay? Hence the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, etc., which meant the path, the way. Okay? Or the road too, to put it even simpler. A means. Okay, the Tao, or the way, is a philosophical exposition of Chinese mystical philosophy and so forth. Qi is the Chinese name for the single life force which exists all throughout the universe. The first writings in reference to Qi begins with Huang Di around 2690 BCE, 2590 BC, and so forth. So there's people out there who say, oh no, it's all fairy tale. There's no such thing as Qi. It's ancient. It's in their records. Okay, it probably came from Egypt. Similar thing, correlation of Egypt, come out of Egypt, whatever, and these Chinese got hold of it, or were aware of it. Like Indian Hatha Yoga, Qigong is a system of meditation and physical exercise for the development, sublimation, and channeling of the life force, Qi, Sikan, Prana, Kundalini, in order to promote spiritual transformation. Betterment, right? You could also say, because of their acupuncture and all that sort of stuff, they're trying to open up the meridians so your Qi or your energy flows. Okay, makes you healthier, internal purification, all that sort of stuff, right? Okay, and there's some rules. Okay, self-control, almost identical to the Egyptians in Kung Fu, as you were talking about. Okay, according to Shaolin Temple system, where Qigong and Kung Fu were first developed, there must first be internal purification before there can be Qigong or Kung Fu training. That is, before the exercises can be performed effectively. The initiate or aspirant, this is all to do with the Shaolin Temple probably, must follow a rigorous system of virtue and self-control, almost identical to the Egyptian system. Student must prepare himself for 5 restrictions. He must not be frivolous. He must not be conceited. He must not be impatient. He must not be negligent. He must not be lascivious. Whatever that word is. Lascivious. Oh gosh, I need to learn that word. Lascivious. Yeah. And 7 detriments. Fornication depletes the energy. Yeah, you get into that and then you're tired, aren't you? Men usually fall asleep. Anger harms the breathing, Qi. Life force, there's always other things like, too much coffee or that sort of stuff. Bruce Lee didn't like coffee because he said it ruined his Qi. It would ruin his Qi. Worry numbs the mind. Over trustfulness hurts the heart. Over drinking alcoholic beverages dilutes the blood. Laziness softens the muscles. Tenseness weakens the bones. From Kung Fu History and Philosophy by David Chow. I think this might be the actor. Old time Kung Fu movie star. Really old movies, like 70s, something like that. According to Robert Smith's Secrets of Shaolin Temple Boxing, this guy, I think he was well versed in the Formosan or Taiwan Bagua, walking the circle, etc., etc. Bagua, the 8 forms or that sort of stuff, 8 diagrams or whatever. We had a book like that years and years and years ago. We're pretty sure that's the same guy. It's not the guy from The Cure, okay, the band. It's this other guy. Yeah, we're pretty sure that's the same guy. He did Bagua, learnt Bagua, and here's all these rules from his book that he put out in regards to that. Okay, some symbols. Okay, figure B. It says here the ancient Ethiopian Egyptian symbol figure C represents the, maybe that's the ABC, maybe it doesn't really indicate there. The ancient Ethiopian Egyptian symbol figure C represents the eternal Trinity. Principle. God is a sustaining factor enabling the other two to exist, but most importantly, God is all 3. So people, like a comment we got recently, it's all pagan, it's all this, that. It's not true, all this sort of stuff. Well, there it is in the Egyptian. Pretty similar to the Christian Trinity and the old Mesopotamian triunity. Winged disc, triune Godhead, right? Yeah, pretty much the same. Okay, they're pagans because they're not of that Jewish or Christian or Islamic faith, right? Or organized religion. That's why they say, you're a pagan, because they're not conforming to their religion. Okay, we did find a definition years ago which said people from the country or people that are not, as we just said, not conforming to that particular religious system. They're not conforming to it. They're not part of it. So they got labelled pagan. Outsiders of it, right? Outside it, those religions. Okay, so the ancient Ethiopian Egyptian symbol figure C represents the eternal Trinity principle. God is a sustaining factor enabling the other two to exist, but most importantly, God is all 3. This is the meaning of the statement, which is found in the Egyptian book of Coming Forth by a day in which God states, I was one and then I became three. Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Ra, Asahiru, Father, Mother, Child, the seer, that which is seen, sight itself. So there's a very close similarity to the triune Godhead, the Trinity concept, and the Egyptian religion, the ancient Egyptian belief system. Okay, so figure C represents the Trinity within humans, wherein there is a Heru and Set aspect of consciousness, it's the good and the evil, which may be harmonized and brought into balance by the third aspect represented by the god of air, breath, or Shu. And here's the Chinese symbol for Shin, called serpent, the Indian symbol of Kundalini energy, and so forth. Okay, oh, here it is. Figure A, figure B, figure C, figure D. The Kaaba monument is a shrine which holds a meteorite. Oh, that's the Kaaba, right? That black box that all the Islam walk around, the Muslims. It is venerated by the Muslims. The meteorite is fitted to the monument, a square stone structure by means of a metal band in the shape of a female genital. Oh my gosh. Okay. This black stone is regarded as the hand of Allah. Like the what's that symbol? The sign of Islam. Apparently it's on your hand, according to them, right? The Islamic mythology of the hand follows the Egyptian creation story in which Atom, or Atum, or Atom maybe, creates by means of uniting with his own female part, his hand. The origins of Islam, around 600 ACE. The word Islam means to surrender. Okay, they said it's peace, right? Maybe they. Yeah, we probably read wrong, recording it wrong. Yeah, the last one we looked at, the Islam video. Yeah, I believe the guy said that. Surrendering your will. Others said peace. Islam is a religion of peace. The word Islam means to surrender. In its religious application, Islam refers to surrendering to the will or the law of God, or Allah. Islam is seen by the theological scholars to be a reformation of the older Arab religions, which themselves were influenced by Egyptian philosophy during the time of Egyptian conquest of the Middle East. Muhammad, the founder of Islam, was opposed by other Arab leaders in the earlier stages of the development of his new religion and was forced to flee into Egypt and Ethiopia, where he and his followers further developed Islamic philosophy. While living there, Muhammad married an Ethiopian woman. I've forgotten her name, but she's like 45 or something like that, around about that age. Orthodox Islam departed from the concept of the feminine goddess principle so evident in Egyptian philosophy to a patriarchal religion, much like Orthodox Christianity. However, their recognition of the importance of the female principle is evidenced in the Kaaba monument, the most sacred Islamic monument located in the city of Mecca. They make a pilgrimage there, right? The Kaaba is a female vulva carved on one side. Muhammad said he had been given the word of God by the angel Gabriel in a revelation. These teachings are presented in the Quran, the holy book of Islam. The major tenets of Orthodox Islam are, and it's listed, that there's only one God, unitary and omnipresent. God is separate from creation and manages it from afar. 2. The plurality of gods, or the extension of God's divinity to any person, is strongly rejected. 3. God created nature through a primordial act of mercy, lest there would be only nothingness. 4. God governs creation, and all areas of creation were given laws to follow. The following of these laws creates perfect harmony. The breaking of them creates disharmony. Okay, you're either under his blessings or you're under his wrath, his curse, right? And that's probably the equivalent to what these Muslims are saying, the Islam is saying. Since there are laws, there is no need for miracles. The Quran is the highest miracle which no man will match. Okay, that's their claim. 5. The ultimate purpose of humanity is to serve God in order to reform the earth. Okay, reshape the earth, replenish it. Okay, God has 4 functions: creation, sustenance, guidance, and judgment. 7. After death, those who lived by the laws will go to the garden, heaven. Those who did not will go to hell. The origins of esoteric mystical Islam, Sufism, around 700 ACE. Sufism emerged in the Middle East shortly after Islam became established as a dominant religion in that area. The name Sufi comes from Suf, which means wool. The name Sufi was adopted since the ascetic followers of this doctrine wore coarse woolen garments, sufu. To the followers of Orthodox Islam, Sufism has almost always been regarded as heresy, since its main goal is to lead the Sufi follower to have mystic knowledge of God. Sufism is based upon the fundamental Islamic tenets of living in harmony with others, but beyond these ideas, the Sufis hold that A. God as creator of the universe transcends it, B. God cannot be expressed in words. Okay, so it sounds very similar to Gnosticism in the Sufi ways, right? In relation to the Sufi way, and so forth. As in Christian mysticism and the Bhakti Yoga of India, some Sufis practice devotion by employing the energies of love and directing them solely toward the divine union with God through rituals such as reading, listening to poetry and other works of literature, and devotional dancing. The whirling dervishes, you spin around, arms out, all that sort of stuff. It puts a smile on you, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, been there, experienced that, seen that. Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird. But yeah, that's their thing, right? Mental emotional feeling develops which can be used to sublimate and direct psychic spiritual energy to becoming attuned to and attaining union with the divine forces. Sufism incorporates teaching in reference to the subtle spiritual body, which may be compared to the Egyptian teachings of the pillar of Asar and the 7 powers, energy centers in the body, and the chakras of Indian yoga. And these are, it's got explained there. And Druidism, all these other religions, religious belief systems. Symbols used by the Druid. Look at that. That's the swastika, the other way around. Okay. Pyramid enclosing the swastika, an ancient Egyptian symbol for Heru as the god of the 4 quarters, creation. So Indians have that in their religious system. Okay. It's probably the 4 points of the earth. That's what we read somewhere along the way. East, west, south, north, and all that. A man had it on his house, and he got told, he was being a Nazi. He's an Indian. He said, "No, that's part of my religion. I just put it on my house for blessings of God or something like that. It's God, whatever, for religious reasons." But old biddies in the community said, "No, it's Nazi. Take it off your roof." So he was forced to remove it. They didn't understand it, but they knew everything about it. They labelled it. It's Nazi. And yet it was the other way around. But to comply, because the authorities, the police, had to take it off. You can't have that in the neighbourhood. You're disturbing the neighbourhood with that sort of stuff. Okay, there's the upside down pyramid known in Egypt as the triangle Heru, and in India as the Yoni Yantra, which represents the pubic area of the female womb of God, from where all things come, creation, female principle, etc. Maybe that's the sign of the anti-abortion. I'm not really sure. This one, like that, could be pro. Not really sure. It's something to do with that. Go do your research, etc., etc. Some clinics have one of them, right, which is pro. And everyone else goes, "Oh, that's pro-abortion," or that sort of stuff. Africa, spirit of mythology and philosophy. Zulu, Dogon, Yoruba, and fine mythology and philosophy. All these African religions, right? That came. Okay, Dogon culture and a conclusion on all of that. And then some philosophies of the sages here. The primordial point, the origin of creation. Remember that circle? There is Ra, and the circle is creation. And all this philosophy here, related philosophy. Here's some hieroglyphs, Ankh, etc., etc. Okay, and it says here, Chapter 3, Modern Physics and Ancient Egyptian Physics. The noblest employment of the mind is the study of its creator. Ancient Egyptian mystical wisdom. The ancient Egyptian god Ptah. It's not Ptah, because this is silent, right? The P is silent. It's Ptah. The atom. Probably in the Indian, atum. This is the English atom. Maybe in the Egyptian or the Indian it's atum. or in the Egyptian aton, maybe. Okay. Atoms' energy come together to create molecules. Molecules form objects. Waves of energy are particles, and particles are also waves. Both are energy in different form. He goes on about matter, but it looks at energy and matter, and gives a deep explanation of it, right? Yeah. Here's Ta Horus with the was staff holding an ankh, the symbol of life, apparently. In each hand, Ta symbolizes all life, stability, and strength. Creation, matter, and physical reality according to the Shabaka stone inscription. Oh, there's lots and lots of information here. It's really, really good. The scarab beetle. Is that the scarab beetle? Kipra. And it continues. Okay, we're going to leave it there because we've probably spent hours and hours on this because it's so interesting. It goes so deep, and we're really interested in that Egyptian-Indian correlation, etc. So we're going to leave it there. We probably have to break it into parts because it'll be so long. We're guessing it's a couple of hours long. So it makes it easy for you to listen to and absorb. So if you like this video, you really liked it, it's really eye-opening, etc. If you're of the Kemet persuasion, or you're interested in this sort of thing, the history of the Egyptians, the correlation between them and India, that pretty much. Oh, cat is choking. Give him CPR. You right there, buddy? Got a hairball there, buddy. Oh, okay. You gotta cough it up, bud. Good boy. Cough it up. Got a hairball there, buddy. You right? Poor cat. Yeah, poor cat. He came home the other day and he wasn't himself. Like somebody kicked him or something. He just wouldn't. He didn't want our attention, didn't want to be picked up. He's recovered after a couple of days. He just had believe it to be a fur ball there. Right, kitty cat? Okay. Yeah, that's probably what it was. You know how they lick themselves, they get their fur stuck in their gut or whatever, their throat. Yeah, he's all good. He's happy. Okay, so as we were saying, if you like this video, you're an eye-opener, then click on the like, subscribe, add your comments, and then share this particular video with all you know.